Today we are back with another amazing movie. This movie shows about the time of spring 1968 in Paris. While most students lead the revolution in May, a French poet's twin son Theo and daughter Isabelle live it up in his opulent Paris mansion. They meet up and adopt Matthew, a modest, traditionally educated Californian student, as film buffs. They drag him out into an orgy of senseless pleasure while their parents are abroad for a month, destroying all of his and their innocence in the process. A sexual threesome shatters their bond, but only the harsh realities of life can break it. Hello and welcome to Binge King. Watch out for spoilers and take care. Without any further delay, let us start. Matthew is an exchange student from the United States who has come to Paris to study French. He meets the free-spirited twins Theo and Isabelle while protesting the firing of Henry Langlois at the Cinémathèque Française. The three become friends because they share a passion for movies. Theo and Isabelle offer Matthew the opportunity to remain with them while their parents are away on a trip after dinner with their parents. Matthew accepts, referring to them as the first French acquaintances. Before we go ahead, subscribe. Press the bell button to get the latest updates about new movies. Now let's get back to the movie. After witnessing them sleeping naked together, Matthew gets dubious of their relationship. Nonetheless, he quickly discovers that they embrace nudity and sexuality freely. After Theo fails at a trivia game, Isabelle has him masturbate in front of a Marlene Dietrich poster. Matthew is enticed to take Isabelle's virginity when he loses in another game. The two eventually fall in love. Matthew gradually comes to terms with Theo and Isabelle's sexuality, and his time with them becomes blissful. Matthew and Theo had a fun argument over Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, Eric Clapton and Jimi Hendrix, and the subject of Maoism, which Theo firmly believes in. Separate from Theo, Matthew begins a relationship with Isabelle during this time. Matthew and Isabelle leave the house for a regular date, something she has never done before. Theo retaliates by inviting a friend into his room, which irritates Isabelle. She isolates herself from both Theo and Matthew, only to discover them on Theo's bedside after an amorous quarrel between the two. They fall asleep in each other's arms when she surprises them with a homemade bedsheet fort. Theo and Isabelle's parents came home one morning to find the three of them naked in bed together. They are taken aback by what they discover, but they leave them alone after leaving a check. Isabelle wakes up after they leave and discovers the check, realizing their parents had tracked them down. She hooks a hose into the gas outlet and returns to the ground with Theo and Matthew, committing suicide. They are awoken after a few moments by a brick thrown through the glass, and they witness hundreds of students rioting in the streets. They are all ecstatic and proceed to join the demonstrators. Theo afterwards joins a small group of demonstrators who are making Molotov cocktails. Matthew attempts to stop Theo by kissing him and talking against violence, but both Theo and Isabelle shun him. Theo grabs Isabelle's hand and throws a Molotov cocktail at a line of cops as Matthew walks away through the mayhem. The crowd is charged by the cops. The name of this amazing movie is The Dreamers 2003. Bernardo Bertolucci directed The Dreamers, a romantic drama film released in 2003. Gilbert Adair wrote the script, which is based on his 1988 novel, The Holy Innocents. The film is an international co-production involving films from France, the United Kingdom, and Italy. It follows the story of an American university student in Paris who becomes embroiled in an amorous triangle after meeting a strange brother and sister who are fellow cinema enthusiasts. It takes place in the aftermath of the 1968 Paris student riots. The film incorporates snippets from films that are frequently copied by the characters in specific sequences and makes multiple references to classical and French New Wave films. Gilbert Adair adapted his own novel, The Holy Innocents, into the first draft of the script. Bertolucci altered the script during the pre-production, adding clips from the film he likes and removing homosexual themes, including sequences from the novel depicting Matthew and Theo having sex that he believed was simply too much. He stated after the film's release that it was true to the spirit of the novel but not to the text. According to The Guardian, Eva Green's agency and parents pleaded with her not to take the role of Isabelle, fearing that the film, which involves full frontal nudity and violent sex scenes, would send her career down the same path as Maria Schneider's. Green expressed her excitement after seeing a preliminary edit of the film. She was very shocked and had to turn away during the sex scenes, Afterwards, she told an interviewer that she felt as if I were wearing a costume while we were creating the picture. It was as if I was thinking of a different story. As a result, I was speechless. In 2004, Fox Searchlight Pictures granted the unedited version of the film from a limited theatrical release in the United States, with 116 theaters showing it at its peak. The picture was released in the theaters in the United States with an NC-17 rating, while it was classified VM-14 in Italy. Despite its NC-17 rating, this picture grossed $2.5 million in its theatrical release in the United States, a decent performance for a niche film with a niche audience. The film has a good score of 60% on review aggregate Rotten Tomatoes based on 161 reviews with an average rating of 6.18 over 10. Though lushly atmospheric, The Dreamers doesn't engage or provoke as much as it might, says the site's consensus. The film has an average score of 62 over 100 from the reviews collected by Metacritic, putting it in a generally favorable category. The New York Times' A.O. Scott called the film disarmingly lovely and absolutely charming, adding that it fuses sexual discovery with political turbulence through a heady, careless romanticism that nearly obscures the picture's thoughtful, skeptical intelligence. A dizzying blend of Last Tango and Stealing Beauty, according to the New York Times, but one that blends the grubbily voyeuristic parts of each picture rather than their relative qualities. Roger Ebert gave its highest rating of 4 stars, calling it poignant and extraordinarily beautiful. That is all for today, folks. Tell us in the comment section what is your point of view about this amazing movie. See you soon with another amazing video.